Since 2011, American Giant has been making everyday clothing with extraordinary effort. Not in far-off factories, but right here in the USA. We obsess over fabrics, fit, and details, because if you're going to wear it every day, it should feel great and last for years. From the cut of a hoodie to the finishing of a seam, nothing is overlooked. Our supply chain is tight-knit and local, which means less crisscrossing the country and more care in every step. The result is durable clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and denim that become part of your life season after season. This isn't fast fashion, it's clothing made with purpose by people who care as much about how it's made as how it fits. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.
Because I'll give you an example. I like to work with fun people, okay? And really, to some extent, I only like to work with fun people. Now, do I have fun people in my network? I have some, but not enough. Most people are very serious. So, and for me, I'm like a comedian, and I like to have that comedian, like anything I do is fun and exciting. So, wake up in the morning and I dance, going to the kitchen, and I'm not saying you have to do that during the coaching sessions, but I'm saying that I like to have that fun element, and I think my father.
Sit back and relax and get ready for another exclusive episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast with Lopez.
This episode is brought to you by ERC, Employee Retention Credit. They specialize in getting money back for your business. Receive up to $26,000 per employee. It only takes 10 minutes to see if you qualify. Go to my website at lopezlassane.com, and on the top of my website, click the tab that says Get Money Back, or click the link in the bio. So don't wait on this. And the best part about this, it's absolutely free. No fees up front. You have nothing to lose. So go to my website or click the link in the bio and get started today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. So today, I have another special guest. She can help you write and publish a book in 60 days and take your personal brand to the next level. She's an author of a brand new book called Peak Performance Sales. She's also a speaker, and she can also help you market, sell, and promote your book. And she's worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, from Global Vision TV to Echo Peru, Red Digital, and she's been on the cover of Business Fit magazine. My special guest today is Lily Patrascu. Welcome to the show. So where are you from?
I'm from Romania, and I live in London. I've been living in London for the last 18 years.
Oh, nice. So how did you get started in the book publishing marketing world? How did this come about?
I came to London with 100 euros in my pocket and 2 suitcases full of hopes and dreams. And 8 years later, it felt like I had done absolutely nothing. Although I had a lot of fun, traveled the world, and still it felt like I hadn't done anything. So I decided to publish my first book. And that book was called Meet the Nanny. And it was that book that enabled me to find a job as a property manager for a company that was founded and managed by my boyfriend at the time. And from the moment I published my first book, I became a magnet for opportunities, for people. Everyone wanted to know how I published my book on my own. And all of a sudden, I was no longer the nanny, I was the author. So that's how I started.
So how did you even know to publish a book at the time? Because this is like back in the day when, at least I didn't know that, people I used to hear people talk about, hey, I'm trying to get a book deal here, or I'm trying to get a book deal here. So how did you even know that you could even publish? How'd you know?
I went to a bookstore, and there was a book that really popped into my, my visual kind of area, and it was called How to Publish Your First Ebook. So I took that and I thought, let me do this. And in 1 month, I had already written it. It took me another month to kind of find the cover, and then another month to find the editors and so on to kind of put it together. So in 3 months, it was fully published.
So what's the why do you think is it important to publish a book?
Very good question. Yes. So what I find is that many entrepreneurs work really hard, and some entrepreneurs experience sort of like selling their courses, their products, their services at much cheaper prices, simply because they are not trusted enough, right? There isn't that authority and trust and credibility that you can say many clients expect. And because of that, you could end up being an entrepreneur that undercharges for years. Now, the impact of that is tremendous. You could be like working really hard, trying really hard, and simply not seeing results at all. And then you could be thinking, wow, but look at, I don't know, Tony Robbins or Les Brown or Oprah or Michelle Obama. How do they do it? It seems so easy for them. And the reality is that a lot of them started their journey by publishing a book. And what happens when you publish a book is that you become a magnet for opportunities, and it's a great way to market yourself and your business, especially if you do want to become a speaker. And even if you don't want to become a speaker, if you simply want to talk about your products more in social media, for example, it's important to crystallize what you do and how you can help people, especially if you're a coach, especially if you're a speaker, and especially if you have something that you promote. Okay, it's a good idea to have a book, because when you have a book, it's a bit like a glamorized business card, first of all. Yes. Second, nobody throws away a book, whereas a leaflet, most people will throw away within seconds. And it's a great way to market your business, because people will either read your book or they will gift it to someone who will read your book. They don't tend to throw your book, which means that it's marketing on steroids. It's a piece of great marketing, but it's only that if you write the right book, and not a book that perhaps doesn't kind of like take your business to the next level, okay? So what I mean by that is, imagine, let's say we're all multi-passionate to some extent, right? We all love different things. So maybe you like to play the piano, maybe you like to play cards, and you also have a marketing business, and you also, I don't know, you have other passions, okay? And maybe you've also come from trauma or, a terrible childhood. And what happens is that a lot of people come to me because they want to tell that story of having gone from trauma and obstacles and having kind of like achieved more. And you know what the problem is? You have to think about, if you write a book about that, what is that going to lead to? Okay? Because are you planning to become a transformational coach? If the answer is yes, then doing a book about trauma could be a good thing and how you overcame it. Okay? But it has to be in line with what you're promoting. So for example, for you, because you are an online marketing expert, it's a good idea to do a book about online marketing secrets. And of course, inside it, if you did have trauma, You can include in some passages, for example, let's say to become an influencer and to expand your reach on social media, you can be vulnerable sometimes. You can talk about different stories of ups and downs, and you can trigger different emotions of anger and burnout and overwhelm, and you can talk about all these emotions of feeling happy and ecstatic, and all the different ups and downs of emotions. So you can include some of your trauma stories into your how-to business book, but ideally the book should be about promoting your business in some way, and shouldn't be focused on, let's say, oh, I survived a terrible childhood, because people could still read that, maybe your friends, but your intention, you have to think about your overall intention, and based on that, that's when you do the right book.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I meet people from time to time and they say, hey, I want to write a book, and I always ask them why. And they say I want it to be like a biography about how I grew up and everything. But what else? And they say, well, and then I always ask them, well, who's gonna read it? Who wants to read it? And why would they read it? And what's gonna happen once they're done reading the book? And they usually don't have an answer.
Yeah, that's a really important thing, that you do have to think about the marketing of your book before you publish the book. And in fact, you have to think about it before you even write it. Because otherwise, I would say most people write the book and then they think, who's going to read it? And that's the wrong way to approach it, in my opinion. You need to first think about, okay, what is my intention with this book? And is this book, if I write it like this, is it going to achieve this intention? And then what am I trying to promote right now? And, if you have different businesses, then you'll have to choose which one you want to promote first, because ideally that book should be, at least the very first one, should be something almost like an umbrella for all the different things that you do. Okay, I'll give you an example. I met this lady at an event, and she was telling me about how she does empowerment and confidence clothes for women. And she also does empowerment coaching for women. Okay. And then she was doing something else that was kind of, I think, reconciliation courses for families and things like that, right? So you have to look at how do you put all of that into one umbrella so that people can see you as the expert in a particular area. And then, of course, you can have multiple books after that are kind of like fit into that umbrella. But ideally, your very first book should be something that should have a very short title, as short as possible. It's not always possible, but as short as possible, ideally not more than 3 words. And should be something that could be turned into a luxury brand title. So you could turn it into a workshop title, maybe a TED Talk title, maybe later on into a board game or a card game, or I don't know, an online club, different things like that, right? I'll give you another example that I saw actually on social media. There was this lady that was advertising something about the ambitious introvert, which I think she branded as well. And I thought, wow, that's me, right? You want that kind of impact. You want people to have that kind of impact when they see the title of your book. And that could be, like the title of a workshop and an online course and so many different things. And you want them to feel associated with that. You want them to feel like, oh my God, that's my tribe. That's me. I want to be part of this because that's me, right? And you can do that through having a sentence. Okay, so for example, my partner and I, we created this brand called Speakers Are Leaders. So it's a statement that kind of attracts mainly leaders and speakers, and also people that consider that to be a speaker, you have to be a leader. So it's important to create a title that will attract your desired tribe as well. And you need to think about, okay, if I write this, is it going to attract the desired tribe?
Yeah, I made the mistake that a lot of people make on the first book, but I think it's a gift and a curse. And I always tell a story because I didn't even know I could self-publish until this close friend of mine. She was a woman. She used to come over to my house, And I used to always write a lot on my computer. I had a Word document file on my computer, and she opened it, and I had about, I don't know, 20, 30,000 words of of stuff I used to write about in like as far as traveling and dating goes. And she told me that, hey, you need to publish this. And I didn't even know you could do that at the time. And at the time, I had a YouTube channel at the time, but I didn't necessarily know if they wanted to read what I had at the time. So I ended up publishing it, but I didn't get a lot of buyers. So, but at the same time, I'm glad I went through that process, and I got it right the second time. So my second book is called Love Can't Wait. You know, so a lot of stuff you're talking about. Yeah, a lot of stuff you're talking about today. I made those mistakes, and I got it right the second time. So that a lot of this stuff makes sense.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah. So how did you know that you could start a business? You could help other people publish their books and help them market their books.
It kind of started almost like as a hobby in a way. So I published my first book. And then from the moment I published my first book, everyone wanted to know how I had done it and could I help them as well. So my partner, my partner Harry, was in the process of writing his book, and he hadn't written a single word, and he had already contracted a publisher. And although he had actually a ghostwriter in as part of that package, I ended up, ghostwriting his book. And also, I would say a few months later, someone else hired me to ghostwrite his book about the billionaire mindset. And then once, Harry and I kind of got together, we started creating more books. So I wrote this book called English from Zero to Hero, because I was also the manager of an English school that he had. And then for his Speakers Are Leaders business, we created Speakers Are Leaders, the book. And then a bit later, I created also Peak Performance Sales to show the techniques that I had used to grow his property business. And then from then on, more people were asking, can you help me as well? Can you help me as well? And I realized, I want to transition from property into book publishing and helping more people, because I noticed I really like working with anything to do with writing. I love writing. And I love creativity, and I think books were the perfect way for me to combine both. And I really noticed that books are a way to make people beautiful as well. And when I was really young, I've always felt ugly, I've always felt like I wasn't beautiful enough. And I had acne, and my skin was never very good. So I think I've unconsciously, in a way, been passionate about helping other people to be beautiful and to feel beautiful. And when I work with people for their books, I typically like to put their face on the cover. And because I do that, then I go to the photo shoot with them, and I help them to choose the clothes they're going to have so they can look really great. So it's a lot more than a book publishing program, really. It's a personal branding program as well, because I advise them on what to wear so they can look really glamorous. And it ends up being a massive transformation in terms of their confidence. And when you transform your confidence, you can transform your world.
Yeah. So how did you begin speaking? How did that come about?
So I was really afraid of public speaking until about 35 years old. And then I told Harry, my partner, that I really wanted to become an international speaker. And it was quite a challenge, because we were going to a lot of courses, and sometimes there were 1,000 people in the room, sometimes more. And he would say, you know what, put up your hand. Because sometimes there's an opportunity in massive conferences to ask a question. But that question is typically a good opportunity for people to self-promote as well. So, when you ask a question, you can say, hi, I'm Lily. I'm a, property manager, and I do this, and I need, this, help with this question or whatever, right? And when you do that, what happens is you can get a lot of leads of people that are maybe looking for that exact same thing that you're offering. But I never dared to do that. So one day I just decided I wanted to become a speaker. And Harry kind of like laughed and said, come on, you can't even like say a word in front of like 5 people. How are you going to speak in front of so many people?
Oh, God.
So, but he decided to create a course. And this course was called Speakers Are Leaders. And the very first time I didn't know what it was going to be, but it was about 45 people. And it was such a fun course. And because it was so fun and we were not worried about were we going to make money or not, it was like we just did it in a small room. But it was after the first Speakers Are Leaders course that it's not like my fear disappeared, but I was just able to feel the fear and do it anyway. And after that, I got invited to speak in more and more and more places. And every single time I was speaking that little bit more, then I took more public speaking courses. And at some courses, actually, I was so terrified of speaking in front of even 50 people that I remember at a certain course, even we paid like a lot of money for it. And the task was to speak for 1 minute or to sing for 1 minute if you're too scared. God. So I actually sang for 1 minute because I was too afraid to speak. So anyway, after many, many courses, then I finally kind of overcame the fear properly. And then I started speaking in larger and larger audiences. And to this point, I've reached 1 million people in social media and more than 10,000 people in person on worldwide stages. And I got invited in more than 20 countries to speak. And I spoke in actually 5 countries.
That's great. You know, a lot of people, that's like one of their biggest fear, or it might be their biggest fear of speaking in front of people because they're nervous, you know, but that doesn't go away. You know, it's based on my experience because I've been speaking in front of people since I was a kid. And I still get nervous. You know, it doesn't go anywhere, you know, but you can't let that fear hold you back, you know. And I always say, you know, once I start talking, the fear and the nervousness usually go away, you know. But I've talked to a lot of speakers, even some entertainers that go on stage and perform, and they get nervous every time. So it doesn't go anywhere. You know?
I mean, for me, I think that there are some events where for whatever reason, I'm just so calm and I'm just like, you know, I'm more in my element now because I'm very funny. Okay. But I'm a funny introvert, which means that I'm funny, but nobody knows about it. But you know, when I'm speaking in front of a small audience of, let's say 50, 60, I feel relatively comfortable, right? So I feel like, oh my God, I'm among friends. So therefore I can make my silly jokes and it will be fine. But when the audience is much bigger, then I get a little bit of panic, you know, like I still get a bit of panic attacks and so on. But it can last maybe just for like an hour or two. And then as I'm approaching the stage, then I breathe, I calm down, and I know the techniques for kind of like diverting the attention of the audience from me to them. And that's when I kind of like, okay, everything's fine. And then when I make them laugh, then it's much easier, you know? It's when they don't laugh, and I mean, they always laugh with me, but when they used to like not laugh, I think my biggest fear was that they wouldn't laugh, that they would be bored. But I haven't had that in a long time, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, humor always helps. It's much. I always say speaking in front of people, any type of speaking, it's much easier than being a comedian. You know. So in this, you know, in the marketplace today, you know, do you think it's important to have a personal brand to stick out in the marketplace today versus, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago?
I think it's more important than ever right now because people will check you out in social media. And if you don't have, you know, if you don't have a brand that stands out, it's so easy for people to go to the next person. And also I've had, for example, situations where there are people, okay, there are multimillionaires that have created a strong database, email database, for example. They've sold $200 million or whatever, okay, and there are these people that have had tremendous success, okay. But what happens is that there are some multimillionaires, friends of mine, and they don't want to register to those people if they don't have a strong brand on social media, okay? So a lot of those people that are, they've sold a lot, but a lot of it is through, let's say, speaking on the stage, or let's say through, and then building their email list, right? But a lot of multimillionaires, they don't want to register to their program if they don't see that they are active on social media, that they're not like posting, they don't have like hundreds of thousands of views on their videos and on their YouTube and whatever. They're not like Amazon bestsellers, okay? So it's like, I think entrepreneurs are more aware of that than ever. So much so that, for example, even there are some publishing houses that will not take you unless you have more than 100,000 followers. Even if you're a celebrity, right? They might not take you if you don't have at least 100,000 followers in different social media. And I know this to be true, so it's very, very interesting that you do have to have a strong personal brand, and you do have to increase those followers so that you are taken seriously. And the more you do that, the more you kind of speak, and then you gain an engaged audience, the more you can be offered more opportunities. But what I've had a breakthrough actually this weekend, and this breakthrough was around, it's not important not only to have a strong following and engaged following, but they have to be aligned with who you are as a person, okay? So for example, for me, I've shown, you can say, my inspirational side, my motivational side, my, to some extent, okay, attractive side, but I haven't shown the funny side of me, right? So to that extent, you can say that some of my followers are not aligned with the personality I truly have, okay? So I've decided that I'm going to show a bit more of that fun side to my viewers, to my subscribers, to my followers, because it's only when you are fully aligned with who you are as a person, that's when you attract the right tribe, and that is important as well. It's not just the number, it's having the people that are aligned with you. Because I'll give an example. I like to work with fun people, okay? And really, to some extent, I only like to work with fun people. Now, do I have fun people in my network? I have some, but not enough. Most people are very serious. So, and for me, I'm like a comedian, and I like to have that comedian, like anything I do is fun and exciting. So, wake up in the morning and I dance, go into the kitchen, and, I'm not saying you have to do that during the coaching sessions, but I'm saying that I like to have that fun element, and I think my followers should be aligned with that. And if they're not, I should be okay to lose some of them so I can get the right audience.
Yeah, I call that being in flow. You have the right energy. And the reason why that's important is because when you have the right energy, you attract the people that you want. And it's like any energy attract the same energy. So if the opposite is true, it usually doesn't go well.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens is that when you are vanilla, what I mean by vanilla, as in like not you don't show your personality online. It's like you're hard to follow, okay? Yeah. Because your viewers, your subscribers, your followers, they want to follow someone with a personality. Whether you're to the left, to the right, you need to show something that they can align with. You cannot just be vanilla. You cannot just be like neutral, because if you are neutral, that's when you're not getting, the right people, because they will not be, following you fully, if you know what I mean. Like they will not be like fully in that same mindset as you are. They will not be following you for the right reasons,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So when it comes to book publishing, it's changed over the years. So some people will say, hey, I would just go the independent route, self-publish, right? And then some people will say, well, I'll try to get me a big deal with, I don't know, maybe Columbia or one of the big publishing companies, or what do you say to them? When they say, hey, should I go for a big publishing deal or should I go to self-publishing route? What do you say to them?
I think they both have their pros and cons. And I think, for example, for me, I'm not just a publisher. I'm a marketer. I'm a branding expert. And I think I'm a copywriter. So it's like I combine everything in a way that I don't think a lot of people can. Right. So I think that as a traditional publisher, it can provide a lot of credibility to be published by a normal, traditional publisher, but the royalties will be lower, and you'll have less control, and it will take a long time for you to get published. With a self-publishing route, you can get published faster. You have more control over what you're going to publish, and I think for me, for example, I like to be like a marketer for the author, because it's not just I'm not just publishing the book and that's it. No, what I'm doing is I'm also introducing clients forever to my clients, to my authors that become, to my clients that become authors. And I look at how can I add value to them? How can I refer them to the right person that will further their business? I'm like a connector. And if they want to do, other things, they can tell me. For example, if they're looking for funding, if they're looking for stuff, then I can look at, okay, who in my network can help with that? So I can introduce them to the right person so they can further their business.
Gotcha. So who would be your ideal prospect?
Ideally, very successful entrepreneurs that are perhaps invisible, and they want to have more visibility. They want to be in the media, and maybe some people that have had a tremendous amount of success and they haven't had the time to tell their story. Maybe they're 40 plus, 50 plus, and they've managed a large company, and now they want to tell that story of how they grew that success, and they want to maybe become a speaker and to give back and to travel around the world and to speak and to appear in the media, and to create foundations, or to create really massive movements around their idea and their business.
Got you. So if people wanted to work with you, where would they go to?
They would go to hello@lily.global, which is written LILY.global. And there is no .com or anything. It's just www.lily.global. Or you can find me on social media, Lily Patrascu. I know my name is very hard to spell, but if you can maybe put it in the comments or something, maybe that's the only way you'll be able to find me. Or on LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm everywhere.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. Tell me what you think. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we're out. Peace.